So we looked at arrays in the previous video. Right now we're going to take a look at functions. In programming, a function is like the drawback, where you hand something over to someone, like the system of a shopper, and the person is going to give you back something. Let's take a look at this one here. In mathematics, we know 2 factorial will give us 2. 4 factorial is more or less 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is eventually factorizing. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4, 24. 6 factorial is 120. 7 factorial is 720, and that kind of thing. We give the 2 to the factorial function and it will give us the result. We give the 10 to the factorial function and it gives us a result. But imagine we are supposed to write the code manually. Let's watch. So this is what we do. Writing factorial of something, we need the number. So input the number, I'll call it num. Told you about how you name your variables. Alright, so input num, and then what you are going to do is you are going to get a variable to store the product. You can, because it's product over here, initialize that variable 1. Okay, then we get a for loop. So the for loop runs from 1 to the number the person enters. So what we are going to do is for every time the loop runs, we want the product to be multiplied by the value of x that is coming from the loop. And then when we are done, we just end our for loop and we print the value of products, right? So that's what we basically do. And so this is the function for the factorial. Those who don't have eyes, let me zoom in for you to see. Alright, so this is a function. But imagine we are supposed to do this for the expression on the previous slide. It means we are going to be taking the input 2 over here all the time. Or had we not used the input concept, we will be doing something like this for all the numbers on the screen. So we have num equal 2, num equal 2, and aside having num equal 2, we are going to have another one with num being equal 4. So another one like this, and eventually there's going to be another one for 8, like that. We will have to be writing the stuff a lot of times, and so that's where functions come in to help. We don't need to be writing them multiple times. We just need one of it, and so we will wrap this whole thing in a function. So let's take a look at how it is done. With a function, you need the name of a function. So the name of the function in this case, I'll call it factorial. Okay, you can call it factorial, you can call it fact. I told you don't use any weird name, if not I'll finish you. Alright, so factorial, and then inside the function they are going to refer to whichever number that the user will write beside this as number. So inside here I refer to this as number, and I try my best to push all the code to the left so everyone knows that these things are near the function. So right, they are under the function. When you are done, you wouldn't want to print the value of product, but would like to return the value of product. So products like this. Okay, and then when we are done, the return is usually the value that whoever called the function. By someone writing 2 factorial, the 2 will come and sit here, and in this case this space is called the parameter. But where they are calling the function, that value that they pass into the function is called the argument. So the parameter is where the number that we pass will come and sit, And over here, we are referring to the parameter from our code. So product equal 1, that one, everyone does it. And then we run from x equal 1 to, we get to the value of parameter. Okay. All right. So now this is basically what we do. We end the for, then we return the value of product. But product is going to change after we are done running the loop. Okay. So that's what's going to store the factorial. When we call the return product, we are true. So having this, when you are writing your program, you've been given a question like this. When you are writing your program, you need to declare your function at the top. Okay. So this function should be declared at the top like this. Way before you start writing your program. For those who don't listen, when you have this function, you declare your function like this and you don't shift it to this side. Please let's all do this so that I can see that this is the end of your function. If you don't and it joins the other part of your code, your thing doesn't make sense, so you'll be finished. All right, so that is it over here. 1 2 1 2 1 2. So this is where we declare our function now this is where we are going to write the code. So the code now does not take any input from the user. That's how the code says. It runs like this. So having declared our function at the top, we come back some lines down, and then we write cosh m, which is a variable. Cosh m is going to call the function factorial of 2 plus, no, now there was a minus. Then we call factorial of 4, okay, plus factorial of 6 minus factorial of 8, and then we have plus factorial of 10. Having done all of these, this is how this function is used, right? So as you can see, let me zoom in for my people. 1 2 3. So this is basically how to use the function. The function was declared at the top over here. The return value is what is given to whoever called it. So over here, when they put 2 over here, 2 will be referred to here, and eventually they will get product, which is the variable over here that was changing, and then we will return it over here. So this becomes 2, this becomes 4, and eventually we do return. That's the value of cosh m in this question. This is a function. You can call a function in another way. I'm going to try another example with a function. Now you have an array in your program, so think of let me just write this right hold on, write a program to find the mean of 10 students in a classroom, assuming we are to use the array to store the ages of these students. How would you implement this concept with while implement this concept with a function? The mean age. So this is going to be the question. Write a program to find the mean age of 10 students in a classroom. Assuming we are using an array to store the ages of the students, implement this concept. with a function. So in this case, the program tells us we are going to write code. And writing code, we've already treated the arrays. So first, let's take a look at how we are going to get the array props. So declare an array called ages, and the array is going to be for 10 students. So I just say array reserve 10 spaces, and then when I'm done, what I now do is declare ages then, and 1 2 3 1 2 3. What I will do is I need to get a for loop that will get me the values of those ages. 1 2 3. So a for loop runs from x equals 0 to 9, which is the 10 minus 1. We are going to step 1, which is negligible. Like, you can neglect it. The next thing that we do is shift to the left and write this stuff. So anytime the loop runs, we input ages at the position x, and then we end 4. This is to take values into the array ages. So there was a mistake I made. Just take values into the array ages. We don't want to use the main concept right like that. We want to implement a function, something like that. So I told you to implement a function, you always write your function way before your program. So we can do it this way. So my function is going to be called main, and then my function is going to take in an array. So this is what I wanted to demonstrate. The function will take in an array. You can call your array any name, but make sure you bring the square box so that whoever is taking a look at it will see that, okay, the function takes in an array. If you bring the square box, then inside the function, we are going to be referring to that array you passed in by the square box. So I shift to this side a little, and then I'm going to have similar thing to the for loop. I'll share similar thing to the for loop over here. Paste it, drag it up a little, and I'm going to say it moves from 1 to. You don't only pass the array in there, you need to pass the length of the array. Okay, so I'll move from 1 to length of the array minus 1, and eventually I'm going to say there should be a variable, and that variable should be called sum. The sum should start from 0, and I'm going to be looping by adding the value of the array at x to sum all the time. You've seen this before multiple times, and then eventually when the loop is done, I'll return sum divided by length of the array. This will basically return the mean, and because we don't want issues, those who don't write well, you can write this end function, and this will basically do the whole stuff for us. Alright, so on the screen I declared my function above my code, and I now passed in the array that I declared over here. By the time we cross this code, ages would have had the values we want, and then we have sum equals 0, whatever, eventually to return mean. So if I want my mean, let me bring this a little up here. If I want my mean, what I now do is I'll just say print, because I'm calling the function, print mean, calling the function, call the function mean. Mean will return a value, which is eventually the mean. Mean is going to be passed ages, which is the array. Okay, now because ages has already been declared, when I pass it as ages, it's like a variable passing in a variable. I don't need to bring the square boxes over here, but where you declare the array, that's where you need to bring the square boxes for everyone to know that it accepts an array. Ages, comma, and then you pass in the length of the array. You now, you know the array has 10 spaces, so basically this is it. You can think of how to write your standard deviation, whatever, by using the concept of the array. It's okay. All the best in your something.